I'm your host, Polly Jo LeBay. I'm here with Chakra Sessions, and we're broadcasting to you live through YouTube onto our YouTube channel, Trinity Mystical Energy, and using the platform of Be Live TV, which is a little funky tonight. So we're going to ask our spiritual teams to step in and help us make sure that this broadcast goes smoothly. I know we're not on the original broadcast, but hopefully this works. And if not, you guys can watch the recording. But I see Julie Shumway Hills in the house, so I have a feeling maybe we're out there in YouTube land. So hi everyone. This evening chakra session, every week or every session we talk about things energy related, how our energy system impacts our everyday life, ways we can shift that, move that so that we can have the life that we are desiring, and maybe get through some difficult times or obstacles when they come up without feeling run over by them. Or at least that's what I like to do. I'm tired of, the backhoe or the bulldozer knocking me down with the next new thing. So I like to have a little bit of insight. And so tonight's session is about, how to connect to your spiritual awareness and your spiritual team. So energetically, a lot of people know that, our crown chakra connects to the divine, but we don't necessarily know how to use it. Sometimes it's like an on or off thing. And the minute we're worried or have doubt, it's really hard to get through on that one channel. And the cool thing is we're not set up to only connect in one way. And some people know that you can connect, through your third eye, through your psychic sense, your intuition. But again, many people feel like that's one channel. But in a lot of the, ancient energy around chakras, when they were first depicted, they were drawn with petals, like they're flowers that open and close. So when you want your crown chakra to be in full bloom, just imagine this beautiful rose, wide open. I mean, it's meant to be 1,000-petal lotus, but you can envision. Some of us haven't had much experience with lotus, so we may not be sure what that looks like. But just imagine this beautiful flower that's fully in bloom with all the petals wide open. 1,000 channels to connect to your spiritual team, and to other frequencies of spiritual guidance, divine guidance. So instead of using 2, what if you used 1,000? And would that change how you interact and how you navigate your life? So one of the things that my team wanted to talk about is just some basics. Is that, generally when we're having trouble connecting or being aware of the messages our spiritual team is sending us, it's because we're in sort of our doing place. And when we're in our doing place, we're not always aware of our surroundings. We've all been in those circumstances where, we're in a parking lot and somebody backs out and they don't even see you and you have to slam on your brakes. Many of us are driving that way without looking in every direction and being really keenly aware of what's going on around us. So sometimes we miss some like subtle hints that the divine might be sending our way, that our team might be sending our way. And many of you have heard of numerology and angel numbers. So numbers are a fantastic way for our team to start connecting with us. That's usually their way of connecting, not necessarily our way of asking, right? We don't send out a number and say, 1111. um, but I suppose you could. I've never I've never tried it that way. I've never tried it that way. But when we see it, we know we're being you know, connected to. Um, and it's always interesting when things like that show up, when there's repetitive numbers, and they don't have to all be the same number, by the way. If a number strikes you as being interesting, there might be a message in it. And in this day and age, it's fantastic because all you have to do is pick up your phone or your computer and say angel number and then type it in and then look up what the meaning is. Um, and usually it's spot on, I'll tell you. um, One of the ways that, when I was sort of first working on connecting with my spiritual team, had a little bit of doubt going on there. I know how some of you might might feel about that. And I had a game, a solitaire game that I would play on the computer. And when I played the game in a particular way, I would play until it was like as if the cards were drawing themselves. I wasn't really thinking, I was just in the rhythm of the game. And I would ask my team to send me a message through my score in the game. Hi, Lisa. Welcome to the show. Glad you could make it. And so every day that was my thing was that, okay, give me an angel message through my score in this solitaire game, or whatever game I happen to be playing. And because I set that intention ahead of time, that's what I got. And I could look it up and see, and sure enough, that was what was going on or what I was seeking guidance on. Um, and that's when I started to ask for the numbers to appear, not just waiting until they happened. Um, Many people think or feel that they can't contact their spiritual team or their angels unless it's an emergency. But they're assigned to you. You are an emergency. They're always there for you. There's no ask that's too little or too big. Um, the Your spiritual team is here to be in service, to remind you that you're always supported, that you're always really never alone, and that what you need and what you want matter. So you can ask for numbers to appear in certain ways, for you to get a communication, like, hey, when I'm driving down the road, the first license plate that jumps out, I would like that to be a message so that I know how to navigate the situation that I'm in. Obviously, don't look up this license plate while you're driving, but that can be helpful. Um, the other thing that you can do, is sometimes, when I've asked for guidance, just simple, hey guys, I need some guidance. It will either come through in a song. That's very popular for me because I love music. I'm sure Rob has had that as well, where just a line of a song gets stuck in your head over and over again. And it's really, telling you something. Maybe what's to come, or maybe to let go of what's not working, but there's a reason it's stuck in your head. And I find sometimes just writing it down and then just letting it be, um, that will give us some space for the understanding of what the message is. Because when we're contacting and talking to our spiritual team, unless we're like talking to them every single day a lot, we might have some miscommunication. We may not quite understand what they're saying, or trying to help us with. Because sometimes we don't want to see what the message is. And sometimes it's like they're speaking another language, because often our spiritual teams, they will speak to us in symbols. So when we're trying to work on our personal spiritual awareness, it's important that we understand that, okay, numbers are symbols they might communicate through. They also may communicate to us through animals, because animals have a lot of symbolism. They might even actually use particular symbols, um, that have meaning to us, to get our attention. The I remember when I was starting the school, and I wasn't sure about Trinity as the name. I mean, it kept coming, but mostly from other people. And I wasn't sure that I was attracting that. And it was a beautiful sunny day. And I said, okay, Apollo, you know, you're the god of the sun. Send me a message for the name of my school. And I went down this road, and there's like a little roundabout. And this van cuts in front of me, Trinity Solar. And I was like, I didn't even know there was such a thing as Trinity Solar. But when you ask the sun god to send you a sign, and it's a solar installation van, and it says Trinity on it, you can be pretty sure that you got the message. Um, so Rob is saying Liquid Truth by Redbone came on a shuffle all at a synchronistic time. Yes, that's exactly the type of thing. I actually um, had been what I knew my team was watching out for me. Like a few days ago, I had my phone going on shuffle when I was in the shower. And as a former dance teacher, I have some interesting things sometimes on my phone. And so I don't know if you guys know the grim grinning ghosts from the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland and Disney World. We had gone on that ride, my son and I. We watched the show behind the attraction. We had just watched the one about the Haunted Mansion. And, it was really cool that it came on, and I was like, yep, it's just showing me that um, they're with me through all of that. Oh, yes. So Rob says all solar deities are triune. Yes. I love that. I like my sun guys, and my moon gals, very much interconnected with that. And then Lisa says, I love the Fool's Wisdom cards. So spot on. Yes. Um, those are one of my favorites. That's a perfect segue, because one of the things I wanted to mention was that when you're trying to reach out for guidance, um, sometimes we just don't know how to ask for it. And oracle cards can be a fantastic way to get some guidance. And, you know, really, it doesn't matter which oracle deck you choose. As soon as you choose it, your team will make sure that the message can come through clearly. And you just ask the question, or you say, what guidance can you give me today? Um and if the card you pull isn't clear, then pull a second card. um and it's funny that you mentioned this Fool's Wisdom card, because I have that in my store. I have that in my space, are the Fool's Wisdom. But today, the ones that pulled out, you can't even buy these, I don't think, anymore, are the Life Purpose Oracle cards, and these are Doreen Virtue. I think her Radley Valentine, her son, kind of took those over. But they still jump out once in a while. And it was funny because I just asked a few questions before we started, and they were spot on for me. So let me see what might be coming through. So, Julie, let's see what might come through for Julie for just right this second. So Julie's card is body work, and it talks about your life purpose involves body work such as massage therapy, energy healing, physical therapy, and energy exercise training. But what I see for you more is the wings and the tattoo on the back. I don't know if you can see that clearly enough. And what I'm feeling is more less about like that's what your career path is, and more like, hey, your body could use that. So I don't know the last time you had a massage or maybe an energy healing, but maybe it's time to invest in a little self-care in that way. I know that for me, that's something I've got to do on a regular basis because we get depleted and for to fill ourselves. So a little bit of that for you. Let's see, Lisa. Nice. Your card, the guidance is about practice. So it's saying polish your skills by practicing regularly. We know that when we're playing sports or an instrument or something like that, we remember to practice. But we don't always remember that everything in life, gets stronger through repetition. The more we do it, the easier it gets and the more it just flows. And when we're trying to connect to our spiritual team, just practice. Set the intention that every day you'll ask a question or ask for some guidance. And it does not have to be life changing. When we're working on becoming more spiritually aware of our team, of their presence, it's actually easier to ask for the little things because we've got nothing invested in it. The minute our ego is invested in something, we can sometimes sabotage our ability to receive that. But, our ego doesn't care how many stoplights we get or how many green lights we get or how close our parking space is, or if we could, find a penny when we're pulling, when we're walking as a sign. I want to find a penny so that I know you're with me. Or my big one is feathers. That's my angels in particular. They put white feathers in my way to let me know I'm walking the right way. Especially at times when I'm wondering if I'm making the right choice. And so then they show me the white feathers. So that's one thing you could pick. I know somebody who has bunny rabbits, and it doesn't have to be live ones. It can be, Bugs Bunny on the side of a car, or it could be a little girl walking around with a stuffed bunny. It doesn't have to be the actual bunny rabbit. It's just a symbol, right? That's a symbol we can ask for. Can you show me that you're with me by showing me this? That is so great. And Rob, let's see what yours is saying. Yours is saying protected. So you are safe and supported while you change your career. There you go, bud. I know that's been on your possibility list. You can't make this up. It's the energy. So, just having a deck and grabbing a card and going, I wonder what's up right now. That's a way to communicate. And if you set up a regular ritual with your team, then they know. It's like you're training them. Okay, when I pulled this out, I want some guidance. And they are happy to give it to you. And that's why sometimes, like, if you get a reading from someone, you need to get a reading from someone who has no personal investment in what you're asking. They don't need to be right. They don't need to be wrong. It's not gonna. They don't need their ego boost by you telling them they're amazing. you just need someone who's just gonna read you the cards and say, "This is what it tells me." And Sometimes those people are hard to find, right? So learning how to do it yourself is a way for you to empower your connection to your team. Um, so that is like super easy. Tarot cards are a way to take it up a notch. But my team was pretty clear that like that wasn't necessary right now. Like if you know the tarot, great, then use the tarot. But if you don't, it's not important. Your team will communicate with you no matter what. You don't have to necessarily learn all these crazy things. Um, the other one that works consistently is a pendulum. Sometimes people talk about um, dowsing, and a pendulum is just something hanging from a string or metal, and I like it to be 6 to 8 inches. Any longer than that, and sometimes it gets a little wonky on how it reads. But you can literally use a needle on thread. It doesn't have to be elaborate. I do it in my children's class. We use a piece of yarn and a bead, and that will work for them as well. So you don't have to go out and spend a ton of money. My grandmother always did it with a needle and thread because she always had it, right? Some people have a necklace that has a piece that hangs down and they use that. One of the things is if your string or your cord is too long, just put the extra in your hand. So put it in your hand so that you're only holding the length that you need. And when you're using an element for dowsing, it's the communicator between you and your team. And so one of the things you ask right away is whether or not it can help you communicate today. And with my students, we always do show me yes. So you'll see that it swings a particular way for yes. For me, that's forward and back. That's not true for everyone. And it's true for this particular pendulum. And then I ask the pendulum to show me no. So you can see that it's going side to side to show me no. And then I ask it to show me maybe, because, every so often we're not clear in our question. So for me, maybe is a circle, right? And so, I can ask when I have questions that I'm not sure about, I can ask my team. So like today, it was like, um, did the glitch that happened on Be Live TV serve a particular purpose? Yes. Um, were Rob and I meant to go live? Yes. Are we meant to continue using Be Live TV as our platform? Uh-oh, Rob. That's a no. Are we supposed to broadcast straight to YouTube? There's a yes. So those are types of things that you can ask. And I will help people use it for when they're applying for jobs. Show me the job that best matches um, me and what I want to express in my life. Um, Rob says I paid for a full year. Yeah, we'll find out whether that works or not. If it's glitchy, we're gonna get some money back for you. um, but yeah, like it's okay, right? Because our logic brain is like, well, this is what happened, and it's like, but there may be something bigger or better, right? That is out there, the and I'm not attached. We can stay on Be Live TV. It was just something I asked because it was like I was curious about the things that happened ahead of time to put us in this position. It was curious. So and especially nice. So especially because it's like this whole session is about activating your spiritual awareness. And so the awareness might be that there's a different way to do things. We've always done it a particular way, but maybe our team is trying to show us a different way. But how are we going to know if we don't ask? Whether we ask through an oracle card, we ask through a pendulum, we ask for a angel number, we ask for an animal sign. Um, those are ways where our team can show us through the symbolism. And those are often visual clues. Um, as humans, we're often very much visual learners, and we are also in that place where we learn by doing, right? And so sometimes we need to have that activeness to feel like, okay, we're doing something and we're connecting, and so it's working. And if it's working, no need to change it, by the way. You don't have to shift it because you want to be more advanced. That's your ego. um, but if you want to have the access to the inner knowing, that aha moment, that light bulb connection where it's like, oh yes, this is what it is. Um, then when we want that as part of our experience, then it's time to open more of those channels, those that we were talking about, those one of those petals on the lotus. And as we start to open them, um, we find that each petal has a particular frequency and a vibration. And so when we connect to that, we're able to call in um, a particular member of our team. They have their own channel. So if we're calling in, for instance, our guardian angel is like right on top of us all the time. Like I always feel this like push behind my ear. I'm glad it's not a whap upside the head. It's just a little push behind my ear for my guardian angel will go, yeah, what's up? Like, oh, you're gonna call me in. Um, so you may get to notice, okay, when I call in my guardian angel, and you may have more than one, um, how do I communicate with them? Do I feel it physically in my body? Do I sense it in a color or a smell, or I feel a tingling, or you know, if I close my eyes, I see a particular color. Those are when we start to use more of our senses to gather information, um, to be more aware. You know, our sixth sense is one of six. We're not supposed to use just that, or we're not just supposed to use sight or hearing. I have a lot of students who really want to hear um, directly what their what their team has to say, and there are some people who do. Um, my hearing is much more in my brain than in my ear. um, it's like all of a sudden the knowing is there and I just know it. I sense what they're trying to say. I can feel that there's sometimes a hesitation. Right now, I have like tingly on the top of my crown, a little bit of pressure, um, because I'm talking while I'm connecting. Right? I'm trying to connect and give you information, and they're knocking on the door saying, "Let me help." And there's part of me that's like, I'm in the middle of a show. Kind of like the little kid pulling on your skirt, like mom, 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 and you're like, hold on a sec. Um, but if we do that too much with our spiritual team, they stop pulling, right? They stop doing that. We want them to do that. So in the awareness, it's a noticing of like physical sensations. It's noticing maybe how your breathing changes. Um, I know when I'm about to get a big download of information because there's a part of my stomach that gets kind of fluttery, almost like those like butterflies before you go on stage kind of feeling. And then I feel it also it starts down below butterfly, and then I get a butterfly up in my throat. And it's kind of like you've got a certain amount of time before this is coming through. um, and then I need to write it down, or I need to speak it out, so that it the energy moves through me. But that's when I'm channeling directly from my spiritual team, or my higher self, or the divine, however you perceive that. So when we're thinking about activating our spiritual awareness, it's not just our sixth sense, but my team talks about our seventh sense. And the seventh sense is when we're connected to our higher self. So imagine the third eye of our higher self. And if we connected to that, not only would we have the knowing of this realm, but we would be able to connect to the knowing that our higher self has of other realms and other information. Hi, Ellen. Glad to have you. Yeah, I'm not used to it Thursday nights either. I gotta work. I gotta work with my team on my schedule. Something is not quite right. I don't know if it's Thursday nights. I don't know if it's Be Live TV. I don't know. But we'll figure it out. So you're exactly here at the right time. That's always how it works out. We were talking about ways to talk to your spiritual team, using a pendulum to get some yes and no answers, using oracle cards to get some quick guidance about things. And about those oracle cards, the cool thing is you can get them on your phone. I know, Lisa, the Fool's Wisdom cards are on your phone as an app, not just the physical cards. I'm a very physical person. I love to touch them. But I also have a set of cards that's right on my phone. So if I'm in a situation, I'm like, what's going on? I need a little guidance here. I can pull that up and do one card draw, or three or five, and see what the energy is, so that I can make a spiritually informed decision. Interesting, my team's talking about it that way. Because when our logic brain is controlling the show, we are going to walk through our lives the way we always have. And if we're looking for change, if we're looking for purpose, if we're looking for alignment, we need to make room for spirit to get in and help us out. We need to make sure there's room for that inspiration to get in. Um, and because otherwise, spirit's bumping up against that crown chakra, that one little channel saying, I don't know, maybe they talk to me, maybe they don't, which is okay. So the last really easy tool that I use often, well, actually there's two more. One of the last tools that I use very often is crystals. Crystals hold particular vibrations. And generally, if you have one that just grabs your attention, you don't have to know why. But if you set the intention that, you want to be able to reach your team more easily, then sometimes a particular stone will jump out. It may flash at you. It just may draw your attention. Somebody may feel compelled to show it to you or to give it to you. I always see that as my spiritual teams chatting with me. Um, and sometimes it is the stone I need, and sometimes it is the stone I absolutely do not need. But when I don't need it, it's because somebody else thinks I do. Not because my team says so and I'm just like, I don't know. Um, so when they talk to you, all of a sudden you see this beautiful thing. This is my latest one. I don't even remember what it's called, but it started flashing across the room. I couldn't help it. It kept drawing my attention and drawing my attention. And I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it does. I didn't know I just knew that I was in this metaphysical shop that I'd never been in, that had real cool energy, um, and that there was something here that I needed. I'm like, okay, team, what do I need? And this was just like shine, 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 shine. I was like, okay. And then I picked it up and I felt my energy just relax and get calmer. And I was like, all right, what's this for? And one of the things it's for is for reducing stress, reducing anxiety, helping you ground your intuition and ground you to spirit. I find it very interesting that I can't remember its name. But there's a reason for that. Because I think I'm meant to just trust the properties rather than get caught up in the verbiage, right? Like if you pick up a crystal and you feel a particular way with it, um, it doesn't matter what the little guidebook says. That crystal is telling you, communicating with you, what it can do to help you out. so, so this little bugger, I love it. I love that it has a point on the top of it, and then the rest of it's just like really raw and it's nice and weighty. And it traveled from California back with me safely, which I appreciate. And so there just might be particular crystals that call to you that you need to wear. My earrings today are made by the beautiful Julie Hedges. And these are just a carnelian. Today was an orange day. Today was a second chakra day. Like, how can I bring more juice and pleasure into my life? How can food taste better? How can I feel more alive? And so my team was like, wear orange. And I'm like, I understood that one and understood why that would help. I often do that in my closet. I run my hand over and I wait for it to get hot and to vibrate. And then when it vibrates, I know it's the thing for me. And it could be the clothes I'm wearing that day. It could be the right crystal to pick in the shop. It might be, which card to pick. I get that little tingly. That's my personal symbol. Some people get hot, some people get cold, some people get the tingle, but often you will feel it in your non-dominant hand. Most people, it's the left hand, but I try not to make generalizations. I just know that it's generally in the hand that you don't use as much. And then the last thing, for me to connect is always going to be my oils, essential oils, whether they're in a roll-on form, they're straight, they're in a spray. So many of the angels and the spiritual teams have come in and said, hey, this is my formula. So this matches my vibration. So if somebody wants to connect with me, have them put this on and it'll help them open that pedal, that frequency in their crown to connect right to me. So there's one for Mother Mary. There's one for Mary Magdalene. There's one for many of the archangels. There's one for gods and goddesses. There's a new spray that's just to connect to your spiritual team in general, because it kind of opens up the possibility for your whole lotus to open. And that's a fun spray to put on, I'll tell you. But don't do it before bed. Unless you want crazy dreams, then go right for it. So when you're becoming, more aware, more in the energy that you want to connect deeper. I think even when you are a spiritual teacher, um, there's like the next layer. I want to go deeper. The next layer. I want to go deeper. Okay, um, or we want it to happen faster or smoother or um, with more clarity. You know, um, and it is one of those things that happens with practice. um and you know there are going to be thousands of people to tell you to meditate or go walk in nature. um you and your spiritual team will find the best way to connect. My best way to connect initially was through dance. That was the way that I felt spirit come through me. And when that came through, then I sensed all sorts of guidance. I knew with unwavering knowing what was the next step to take and how to take it when I was moving and when I was dancing. um, and then I expanded into meditating, and now it's journal writing. I can pick up a pen and go, okay, what do you want to show me today, or what's going to help me today, and it will just write through my pen. But that's because I've practiced with my team and gotten clear on, the messages. So, um, hopefully those little tips will help. I'm sure a lot of them you guys are already doing. And the more we clear out our clutter in our energy system, we release our past woundings, we release our thoughts and beliefs that maybe stop us from connecting as deeply as we can. Maybe we had some old religious upbringing that, wasn't okay for, just an ordinary person to talk to God. Or maybe, um, that just wasn't something that was talked about, or it was seen as strange or weird. So those are things that we have to, or we get to release. And when we release those, we make more and more room for spirit to come in. We we let less of our wounding get in the way, and we make more room for the light. Um, and one of the biggest ways is to start with kindness. Kindness has been the big thing that my team has been talking about this week. Just be kind to yourself, because when you're kind to yourself, then you make room for others to be kind to you too. And there are times when being kind to someone, um, for no particular reason, you have no idea the impact that might make on somebody's day. It can change their world for them to have one person just be kind, because it's easy not to be. So let's do a quick meditation. And in the meditation, we're just going to really ground into our third eye, into our crown, and really reach into the petals of connection. And we'll set the intention that you can connect more deeply, more fully with your team. Um, and awaken some aspects that maybe of communication that maybe you've been sleeping. All right. So let's take a couple of deep breaths. We invite in the divine, however we may perceive that. All that is oneness, consciousness, creator, God, goddess. All divine of the highest, fullest, and brightest vibrations available to us in this moment. We set the intention that this healing connection is for the good of all and harm to none, including ourselves. We ask that the divine create a sacred container for our connection to occur in, making space for us to feel grounded, centered, and in alignment with our entire energy system, our higher self, and beyond. We're just going to begin by asking our heart to gently ground our energy lovingly into the present moment, quieting any fears or worries, anxieties that we've been carrying. Allowing the energy to drop down through our heart line deep into the earth, anchoring us on the earth plane in each of its vibrations and manifestations, expanding the heart line to hold even more energy, more connection, more space for us to live and breathe in. And then asking the heart energy to also connect up through the heart line to our higher self and all of the energy centers that help our highest self guide our actions in this realm. Also connecting to the divine above, opening and expanding again our heart line to receive even more energy, more divine flow and balance in the masculine, feminine, physical, and spiritual aspects of our life. Centering in our heart, feeling the fullness of our high heart and our heart connected in unconditional love, radiating out as compassion and kindness, and also radiating within in the same way. Moving up into our throat and our ears and expanding all of our abilities to communicate, to notice and be aware of communication as it is happening. Opening our aha point, so we have moments of recognition of the divine sparks as they come to us and through us as inspiration. Moving into our third eye and expanding our perception to include all of our senses, including our sixth and our seventh. Balancing them in awareness, reminding us of our inner knowing. And moving into our crown, feeling our connection to our crystal lotus. Each of the petals connecting to different members of our team, to angels, ascended masters, mystical creatures, all divine of the highest, fullest, and brightest vibration. And just gently accessing the channels that we are meant to in this moment. Sending a beacon out to our teams that we are ready to awaken our connection to some of them, if not all of them. And invite in communication in ways that we can understand more clearly, recognize more quickly. You can take the moment to set an intention with your team. If you would like them to send messages to you in a particular way, like through a penny or a feather or a number, in a way that is not threatening and easy, and can help you to access the joy of just connecting. Now, grounding your energy and awareness in your heart, down to your root. And taking a moment of gratitude for the connection facilitated this evening. And just start to bring your attention and your awareness back to the present moment, back to your body. We're just going to leave some of those channels open. Give you some space for some information to come through. You might feel heat, you might feel pressure. You can ask for that to be shifted or changed. Heat is my team's way sometimes of showing me they're here. I'm ready to go. And pressure for me can sometimes be that maybe I'm blocking my own energy from being as open as it can be. That's my own signal system with my team. It does not have to be yours. And Rob said, sometimes that one small act of kindness is remembered decades later. Yeah. Yeah. It's when we don't have an attachment to the act of kindness, it's almost like that ripples out even more so than we understand. Um, I have a friend who um, used to make a chore out of random acts of kindness were not random for her. She had a regiment of every day she did one random act of kindness, um, which was good because she was working on kindness. But um, when you're just spreading kindness, you don't necessarily have to tell anyone about it. You just do it. Kind of like when somebody just holds the door for you. It can be something that simple, especially these days, right? Because we aren't getting as close to people. One of my big things that I did often, I still do to some degree, when I have the proper stuff, um, was put away grocery carts that were, in the parking spaces, especially near the handicap spaces, because people who are handicapped may not be able to get the cart all the way back to the receptacle, but somebody else who's handicapped needs to be able to get in that space. So it takes what, a minute of effort, um, to put that away. But you may have made it easier for someone else, right? So they don't have to be big. Kindnesses can go a long way. um, and practice kindness to yourself, saying nice things to yourself, um, because we're very good at being harsh. Kind is a whole nother thing we gotta we need to work on just a little bit. So hopefully there was some takeaways for you. Maybe you felt a little bit of connection during the meditation, or maybe just a little peace and tranquility, because often that's what we experience when we connect with our spiritual team. Don't be afraid to um, try new things to connect with your team. Maybe do some journaling, get some oracle cards, grab a pendulum, or a needle and thread, and just see if they're out there and how you can connect. But just be open to the possibility that your team is there and waiting. Because as we do that, we start to activate our connection more and more frequently, more and more deeply. And it's comforting to have your spiritual team present. And it's comforting to know that there is guidance if you just remember to ask. And sometimes I'm that I'm that for people, because your team will talk through me, um, and I'll say the thing that you need to hear on a particular day, because that's part of my job, is to make space for spirit to come through, so you get what you need. So thank you for joining us for Chakra Sessions. It's been a hoot. I hope to see you next Thursday again at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I have no idea what next week's Chakra Sessions are about, but I have a feeling that it's going to be talking about the different chakras and how to separate from our wounding a little bit, so we can enjoy our life as a being rather than a doing. We'll see. But until then, thank you for helping me with my spiritual mission to heal the healers, because we need you out there. And go be kind. And start with yourself. Bye, guys.